Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Yeah, my name is Jeremy Bronen. I live in Milford, Connecticut, right outside of New Haven. And I founded a toilet lift company to help people get on and off the toilet and reduce injuries to healthcare providers in hospitals and elder care.
That's awesome. So what gave you the idea to actually start this business?
So actually, I was studying mechanical engineering at the University of Connecticut, and my capstone project in mechanical engineering school was a toilet lift, as my sponsor for my project was living with an elderly woman who suffered from a stroke, became wheelchair bound, struggled to get around the house, and struggled with toileting. And so he sponsored my project, and that's when I ran with it with him and dove into it. And the more I dove into it, the more I realized how many people are getting injured, dying, getting on and off the toilet. Dignity, it was a complete loss with some of the solutions that are out there or lack thereof.
Right.
And then, massive costs. So that's really what kind of hooked me.
For sure. So for somebody who hasn't seen your product, can you describe it? Like, what does it look like? How exactly does it work?
Yeah. So it's a toilet lift assist. So it's essentially a glorified toilet seat, right? So it mounts onto any existing toilet, replacing the existing seat with just 2 bolts in 2 minutes is what we like to say. So super quick, super easy install. And then it actually lowers people down, providing resistance coming down, locks for safety, and then they can unlock it and it will assist up to 80% of their weight coming off the toilet. And it does this with no electricity and no motor. It's actually fully mechanically powered.
Oh, wow. So essentially, it's a very easy install, like as you said, and it allows elderly people who might be living by themselves to have the a very independence and safety, while using something as simple as the toilet, which they might struggle with.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And then we're primarily at this point in elder care health systems and hospital systems, but we are in some individuals' homes as well.
For sure. So speaking of that, what is the breakdown of your business? Is it mostly in assisted living or hospitals, or are you selling on Amazon, e-commerce, retail? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're all over the place a bit. I mean, we have some core focuses, but we're in a lot of assisted living. We're in a good number of hospitals, also in skilled nursing facilities, and then we're also in some independent living as well. And then, yeah, we have consumer, devices throughout, the state, the country, but our core focus is really elder care and hospitals right now.
Right. So essentially you have this product listed on your website and somebody can come and buy it, but typically you're not running ads or focused on promoting it. It's more it's just there. If somebody's seen it or heard about it somewhere else, but really you're more focused on these B2B kind of relationships that you built with hospitals and assisted living.
Yeah. And funny enough, we some of our existing investors have come to us and said, hey, I need one of these for a family member. And then we go to a trade show, demonstrate our product for facilities and all the facility benefits. And somebody comes up and says, this would be great for my facility residents and my staff. But, actually, now that I think about it, my grandmother, my father could use this. And so that made us say, all right, you know what, let's passively sell direct to consumer e-commerce. We'll get out there, spread our word, but, we're not doing, massive marketing and ad campaigns.
Is that part of your focus, in the future, maybe next year or the year after, D2C or even retail being in certain stores?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely in our plans and a focus of ours. But I think the idea for us now is to just conquer the markets we're in, especially because we have so many value propositions, with these markets.
For sure. So is your vision also to make more products that are similar, or you focus more on this one product?
For now, we're really sticking to this product, but we've got a number of key innovations in R&D right now. And there are other areas that we would like to explore. The way I look at this stuff is I see a lot of great digital health tech companies coming out that are fall detection, and that's awesome. And it's really important, but there isn't a ton of fall prevention, right?
Right.
It's great to have a camera that looks at people falling and said, uh-oh, somebody fell, but let's stop calling in the first place.
Right.
That's what I want our company to do is help people live a more full life, safer, more independent, and really reduce those risk of falls and also injuries to the healthcare staff as well.
For sure. So people I've spoken to in this space in healthcare told me that oftentimes in healthcare it can take a very long time to get approval for products or services. So what does that look like? It looks like your sales cycle of actually getting your product in a hospital or an assisted living facility.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think it depends on what type of, device or product you have. Like we technically are a class one, or we are a medical device, but we're a class one 510(k) exempt medical device. So that's the same, classification as a wheelchair or even a Band-Aid, right?
Okay.
So they are still medical devices, obviously, but they're not like something that has dire consequences or invasiveness like a pacemaker or something like that. Those become higher in their class as a medical device.
Right.
So with a higher class, obviously comes more potential risk, and those have more hurdles for market penetration and entry. Now, as far as the process, yeah, sometimes the process can be slow. I mean, I think we've actually been really fortunate in our adoption rate and how it's been going there, but it's kind of a numbers game in that regard as well.
For sure. But it seems like, just based on what you've described, like this product is sort of like a no-brainer for hospitals. So what kind of objections do they give you? Is it more based like on cost, or what do they tell you typically when they're not interested?
That's kind of been the amazing thing. It's more been just the time to, even booking a meeting, right? Like hospitals are so busy. Same with elder care because of the staffing crisis going on in the industry.
Right.
So sometimes it's the biggest hurdle is just finding the time to kick it off. But then, once you kick it off, it's like, okay, we can get moving. So that's probably been the biggest one, is just sometimes even when the excitement is there and everybody's on board, you need to align everybody, and then you have a patient emergency, and obviously that comes first. But it's been pretty good.
What would you say is like overall your biggest challenge in the business?
That's a good question. It definitely changes, based on what's, there's a ton of phases that I've gone through in the business, whether
Right.
it's getting the right product in terms of the features and everything. And in that stage, it's a prototype or an MVP, to then, I don't know how to build a supply chain. I don't know where 3PL comes in.
Right.
How do we ensure that our product is quality tested? So like it's been different stages have been, differently challenging. Same with fundraising. Fundraising in down markets was pretty, both of my raises were like timed during like market collapses, which if you're working with angel investors, that's just like, they are extremely, in touch with the market. And when the market goes up or goes down, if it's too up, they don't want to part with their money. And if it's too down, they don't want to part with their money. So it's got to be in that sweet spot.
Right.
I battled that a little bit, which just made it, where you had to do twice as much work. But yeah.
For sure. So obviously now we just started Q2 of 2024. So for this year to be successful for you, like what are some of your biggest goals and objectives?
Well, we just accomplished our first one, which is we just closed out actually yesterday, our latest raise, about $775,000. Sorry, it's actually like 776 and $500, whatever.
Okay.
But so right now it's really, we're in growth mode. We just got a bunch of inventory, our final production units into our warehouse in Connecticut. And, now every day that they sit in the warehouse, they are not only collecting dust, but also costing us dollars. So we know there are people out there that need the product that we can help. So we're looking to get the product out to them and build another batch of inventory and kind of rinse and repeat and look to grow the team towards the end of the year.
So in terms of growing your team, is it more so like field reps that can go to these places and show them like the product and install it?
It's a mix of different positions we're going to need. We have a couple salespeople now, somebody in marketing, engineering, CFO. We're going to need more sales support and distributor support as well. But there's certainly every area. Everybody's doing. It was a one-man army about a year ago, actually. Yeah, 1 year ago, and all of a sudden, we have all hands on deck. But all of a sudden, there's a lot of work to do. So it's good. It's good to be busy though.
But is it like field sales, or is it more of like just cold calling? Like how do you actually sell the product?
Oh, yeah, no, we don't really do much cold selling at all, actually. We're pretty well networked. And then, we go to a ton of trade shows. I mean, our product is a toilet and a toilet lift. So we bring a full 100-pound ceramic toilet and we stick out like a sore thumb at these shows. So it's been pretty rewarding, actually. Trade shows, we've gotten great partnerships and customers out of those. And then, from happy customers comes referrals and more customers. So we've been, good in that regard. And that's predominantly where most of our clientele base has come from.
For sure. So obviously now in 2024, many companies use high-level technology like AI. So do you guys currently use AI? And if not, where could AI maybe come in and add value to your business?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was just thinking about this too. I feel like software companies are probably especially, adapt to utilizing AI. We definitely use it, and especially my marketing, associate uses it the most out of all of us. And I have investors that are, doing amazing things in AI. I use it, but I don't really. I need to find like proven things, and I'm not like jumping into stuff. I've jumped into a few things in terms of software. I won't name them, and it's been like but right now it's kind of just it's not aligned with what we need, right?
Right.
Now, we'll use it, but it's we're selling and marketing and
Yeah.
using it where we can.
In B2B, it's not as needed. I feel like it's like once you do more D2C, then you might need like a chat to explain your products, things like that. But as of now, if you're not running ads or focused on it, it's not like a sort of big use case per se.
Yeah, and it's funny. A lot of companies that we already use, like HubSpot and things like that, are starting to integrate, even like LinkedIn, Microsoft, all this stuff, integrate AI into their existing programs. And so, we're kind of utilizing it there. So same thing with HubSpot, like a chat feature on the website or something.
For sure. So what would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this business?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think to just kind of go with my gut a little bit more, or really go with my intuition a little bit more. In the earlier days, especially. Now I feel pretty good about it, but back then, if I could have done that a little bit more, I probably would have sped some stuff up.
Were you kind of like hesitant to actually go and dive into this at first, or like what was it?
I think, my mindset I always try to employ is like be confident in what you know, but humble in what you don't. And when you jump into first time, foundership of a company, you have everything is new. And so you're kind of just like, what is this all? And what's a cap table? What's a safe? Like you're just kind of taking everything in. And so I think I've learned a lot, but it's surprising how much, you can kind of just use good judgment and intuition and apply it to things. And that's probably a great way to make a decision rather than doing like research or constantly reaching out for help.
Yeah, I feel like in entrepreneurship, like nobody really knows what they're doing. It's kind of just like, because like, and plus like you're creating this new product, right? It's like there's no like roadmap to how to market a brand new product that's never been around. So it's like there's so much learning anyways.
Definitely. Couldn't say it better myself.
For sure. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for your business?
A good question. There's a number of milestones that I think we'll be knocking down in 1 year or just around one. I think Series A will be our next, big milestone in terms of funding. Some more partnerships with distributors. And then, I think we're gonna have some really exciting data actually coming out backing the efficacy of our product. So that will be really meaningful and really, really cool to see as well.
For sure. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or social media, I guess, best ways to get in contact?
Yeah, website would be the best way to do that. We have our website, and I think we have our email on there, but we have a contact form as well. SedMed.com. It's sed-med, SED-med.com.
Awesome. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks. All right, bye.
Take care.